this, I would guess that this is some kind of Chinese dresser. Is it?
Well, it's got a Chinese finish to it, hasn't it? But it's actually a wind-up gramophone or a record player. When I was a young boy away at school, my father sent me a portable gramophone. I used to play every day and a great collection of rock and roll records. And then I lost interest. But about 20 years ago, I was given a stack of 78s. That's, you know, the speed at which they play.
Yeah, I remember 78.
And I was given a great stack of these, many by local artists. George Formby, Joseph Locke, Gracie Fields used to play here, Lon O'Donegan even played here. But I had this great pile of records and I needed something to play them on. So I asked a friend of mine to find me a gramophone that was a nice piece of furniture and something that my wife would accept in the house. So we found it.
So where is the gramophone player in here then? Let's have a look.
It all starts when you open the lid.
Aha!
Made by Edison Bell. Has a nice gold finish to the fittings. The important part, of course, is the starting handle or the winding handle on the right here. And the volume control are these doors. As you open the door...
Oh, right.
One of the most famous people in Blackpool, and our hero, was Reginald Dixon, who played the Wurlitzer organ here in Blackpool Tower, and that was, of
He used to play it here in the ballroom?
In this ballroom, this very ballroom.
And that used to be broadcast on Radio 2,
yeah,
didn't it?
all over the world. And I have here, unusually, a 3.5-inch diameter 78 of Reginald Dixon playing his theme tune, I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside.
Well, how appropriate. And can we hear it?
You can, indeed.
See this on screen, they're going to think, oh, that's a nice little telescope. But of course, it's not a telescope, is it?
No. I've always had a passing interest in cameras, and of course, being a Blackpool boy, I'm interested in anything that was made in Blackpool. And a camera dealer approached me about 15 years ago and said he'd found a camera that was made in Blackpool, and was I interested?
And this is that
That's
camera.
it, yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful little item. Everything we need to know about it is really essentially written on a front plate. It's made by the British Ferrotype Company. Now, I know that it was made between around about 1905 and up to about 1915. Right. We've got a number of over 2,000 on here, but I'm not sure exactly how many were made. I have to say, they don't turn up very, very often.
Yes.
What we've got is something that takes a magazine of what we call ferrotype plates.
Yes.
You know what a ferrotype plate is, I'm sure.
Yes.
It's a small metal disc which has a light-sensitive emulsion on it.
Yes. Yes.
That is inserted via the back section here into a spring-loaded magazine. We can then start to operate the camera. We can have our subject in front here. We can essentially line them up through a very simple gun sight on top there that you just look through and the person goes in front here. And that's it. Once you've lined them up, we basically use a vacuum-operated shutter, which you haven't got here, a bulb shutter. We take the photograph, and as soon as it's taken, we basically push this.
Which is jammed.
Which is jammed, unfortunately. The ferrotype plate drops down into the developing reservoirs in the bottom here. And within a minute, we have a finished product.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Now, here's a finished product. This is a tiny little ferrotype plate portrait of a young boy that may even have been taken on Blackpool seafront, circa 1905, 1910. Now, of course, you paid for the little ferrotype plate, and I suspect, given your little advertising case here, you got to pick the style of the little frame that you can put it in, because I see that we've got a selection there with some enamelled flags, some painted enamelled flags, and different gilt borders.
Around the time of the First World War, the young man would have had his photograph taken, and his wife or his girlfriend would put it in a brooch, and she would wear it with pride whilst he was away at the war.
What a lovely story. And in essence, that is a sweetheart brooch, a form of sweetheart brooch, and very poignant as well. Now, these don't come up for sale very often. They're not something that turns up that frequently. So putting a value on it is a little bit difficult, but I think current auction value is going to be around about £700 to £1,000.
Well, yes, I paid about 200 quid for it.
Well, I think you did all right 15 years ago, didn't you? It's a wonderful object, and again, it epitomises Blackpool in many ways.
Now, when I first saw this,